Carrie O'Grady, who is the special agent in charge of the Secret Service Denver district, has been relieved of her post. And I say that because Special Agent O'Grady took to social media during the campaign and the waning days of the campaign to say that she endorsed Hillary Clinton and that she would rather endure jail time than taking a bullet for Donald Trump, who she regarded as a disaster for America. She wrote on Facebook, as a public servant for nearly 23 years, I struggle to not violate the Hatch Act, of course, which bars executive branch staff from engaging in certain political activities. So she went on, so I keep quiet and skirt the media, and to do otherwise can be a criminal offense for those in my position, despite that fact that I am expected to take a bullet for both sides. But this world has changed, and I have changed, and I would take jail time over a bullet or an endorsement for what I believe to be a disaster to this country and the strong and amazing women and minorities who reside here. Hatch Act be damned. I'm with her.
Oh, look at her go.
So
She's so down with the struggle. But, you can't sign up to be a Secret Service agent. You can't let your political feelings get in the way of who you're assigned to protect.
Well, it's an important conversation to have because of the important job that the Secret Service has. And it's not different than the discussion we had over the last couple of weeks about the politicization of the intelligence community and the divisions there. For more on what's going on inside Secret Service, we're pleased to be joined by a man who knows. He is best-selling author Ron Kessler, who's the author of a number of New York Times bestsellers, including books on the Secret Service, FBI, and CIA, including The First Family Detail. Ron, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you again.
So what's your reaction to that story about Special Agent O'Grady?
Well, it's shocking. It's unprecedented. And she's so stupid that she cites the Hatch Act as being a criminal law. It's not a criminal statute at all. It does bar political activity, but that's the least of her worries now, because much more relevant is the fact that after I exposed the fact that prostitutes have been hired by Secret Service agents in Colombia, the Secret Service required all agents to sign an agreement saying they may not discuss anything about their job, period. They may not disclose it, period. And the penalty is termination. In addition, agents are expected to act professionally, not to let their political views influence what they do. And, of course, part of their duty is to, if necessary, lay down their lives, just like military. Can you imagine if someone in the military said, I'm not going to go, to Afghanistan, or an FBI agent said, I like Hillary, so I'm not going to investigate her? It is totally beyond belief. I'm quite sure it should be fired. But it does show this atmosphere within the Secret Service, which I've been exposing, of covering up, of not revealing problems, because she had begun posting these things last October, and current Secret Service agents had seen it. They were on her Facebook, and yet nobody reported it. Nobody did anything. It's a sign that under Joe Clancy, who was appointed by Obama, despite the recommendation of his own four-person blue ribbon commission, that he looked for an outside director to shake up the agency. This Joe Clancy is part of the problem, and nothing has changed since he took over.
So you're saying Clint Eastwood's not going to play her in the movie, is what I'm understanding.
So she's a special agent in charge of Denver, so she has a couple hundred people working under her, including agents, technicians, and officers. And her job is to run the office, but also if President Trump were to come to Colorado, she'd be helping out with manpower, correct?
Yeah, she would be part of the detail. The detail does travel with him, but in addition, when he goes to a local area like Denver, additional agents from the field office are part of the whole contingent. So she would definitely be involved in protecting him.
Since you have written books on other important law enforcement and intelligence branches of the federal government, including the FBI, I wanted to get your reaction to the Trump decision to ask Jim Comey to stay on as FBI director.
I think it's very wise. I understand that there are a lot of former agents who disagree, but they are not necessarily aware of what the prosecutorial decisions are. In this case, the relevant law says gross negligence is a violation of criminal law. Obviously, she did engage in gross negligence with her email accounts, but the belief of prosecutors is that a jury, especially one that probably would include some pro-Hillary people, would not convict anyone of a criminal violation unless there was some indication of criminal intent. And for that reason, this law has never been used, ever, without some additional indication of criminal intent. And that was the case with Petraeus, who lied to the FBI. So he was also charged with lying to the FBI, which is a felony. And that's why he was prosecuted, whereas in the case of Hillary, there was no indication of criminal intent. So I think that Comey made the right decision. He's highly respected. His integrity is admired. I realize he's in the middle of all this controversy, but I think that Trump, whom I've known, by the way, for 2 decades, ever since I did a book on Palm Beach, I think he made the right decision.
Now, I want to ask you a logistical question because, of course, the Obamas are gone out of D.C. They are coming back soon, and once you're president, you can always have Secret Service assigned to you if you feel you need it. But in this case, do his Secret Service agents that have been protecting him the past 8 years, do they go with him post-presidency, or are they assigned now to Donald Trump?
Generally, there's a rotation so that new agents would be assigned to Obama. In addition, new agents would be assigned to Trump. The agents who were on the Obama detail in the White House would go on to other pursuits within the Secret Service.
Did they enjoy the Obama family?
Yes, Obama did treat them with respect and consideration, so did Michelle, although they were dismayed to overhear Michelle urge her husband to side with blacks in racial controversies. But just like Trump, they do treat agents with consideration, unlike Hillary, who is so nasty to her agents, and that continues to this day, that being assigned to her detail is considered a form of punishment. So here's this woman who claims she's going to help the middle class, she's going to help the little people, she cares so much about everyone. The truth was she treated those very same people with contempt.
Well, she's a nasty woman, as Trump properly identified. You mentioned that you've known Trump for 2 decades, going back to a book you wrote about Palm Beach. So give us your assessment and understanding of Donald Trump and what you think we can expect from him as President of the United States.
I interviewed Norma Forderer, who was Donald Trump's top aide for 26 years. She's since died, but when she went with him, he had only 5 other employees. And so she knew him more than anyone on both the business and the social side. And she said there are 2 Donald Trumps. One is the outrageous one who makes these provocative comments to get attention for his brand, and now, of course, for his presidency and campaign. And that's been one of the secrets of his success. He turned this brand, Trump, into something that represents prestige and luxury, and it became well known when real estate was never branded. In those days, in the beginning, in the 80s, you would have these obscure companies that owned buildings. Nobody ever heard of the companies. He came up with this idea. And then she said there's the real Donald behind the scenes, known to her, known to me, known to many people who deal with him, which is the opposite, where he's very thoughtful, he listens, he seeks different opinions, he's incredibly successful. He didn't become a billionaire by being an idiot or a nut or a bigot. So that, I think, really is the secret to how Donald Trump operates.
He is Ronald Kessler, New York Times bestselling author, many books on the Secret Service, the FBI, the CIA, including The First Family Detail. Ronald Kessler, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.